LEGO is all about creativity, and some fans take that challenge to the extreme. Here are some of the most clever ways builders have used LEGO bricks. Motion is one of the most difficult yet most rewarding techniques that you can master, and this builder did just that. Average Joe Tinkering posted this video whereby he constructs a seriously impressive wave machine. After some rather tedious assembly and clever parts usage, these bricks all combine to form this supremely satisfying scene. I just love the effect here. The waves roll beautifully and the minifigures seem to be enjoying themselves too. But it gets even better. Just look what happens when you pour a few hundred blue bricks on top. Truly stunning. Up next is one of the largest and most complex custom builds that I've seen. Over on Reddit, a user named DavidZ1990 submitted this short video showing off their recently completed clock tower. This massive build stands over 1.5 meters tall, or nearly 5 feet. The complex clock mechanism pairs fantastic with the Gothic architecture of the tower. And check out these super cool close-ups of the structure, like the clock face, as well as this super cool little bridge, and this super well done entryway. While this build is 99% LEGO, it does feature some non-LEGO elements, such as the steel wire used to keep the pendulum under proper tension. The real question that everyone's asking though is, does it really tell time? Well, you'll be happy to hear that yes, it does manage to keep fairly accurate time. It only goes off by about a half second over the course of several hours. Not perfect, but still impressive. Now, while these large kinetic brick creations are always super impressive, sometimes creating the illusion of movement is just as impressive. Case in point, this incredibly simple and equally elegant build from Cab over on Flickr. But you see, there's more than first meets the eye. The builder cleverly uses minifigure heads stacked on top of each other to create the yellow lane markers. The result is spot on, but that many heads in a swimming pool can't be sanitary no matter how much chlorine you use. Creepily enough though, those aren't the only heads floating around. Just take a look at the swimmer, or floater, on the left. This guy's clearly not super confident in the water, and so he's using 2 arm floaties to keep his head above the water. Each of those orange pieces attached to his torso is another minifigure head. Now, creating incredible builds starts with the right steps and pieces. It can be frustrating when you feel limited by your current skill set or when you can't figure out your next steps. Now, I'm not just talking about building LEGO creations, because building a successful career is no different, and that's why I'm excited to introduce today's sponsor, 1010. 1010 is an online platform designed to help people change careers and thrive in tech. Their flexible, beginner-friendly boot camps prepare you with the skills needed to break into the industry. 87% of their grads land a job within 6 months, and they're so confident in their program that if you don't get hired in 10 months, they'll refund 100% of your tuition. Not only that, but 1010 is the only US bootcamp offering unlimited externship opportunities even after graduation. If you've considered a career in tech but worry about traditional schooling, 1010 makes learning work for your lifestyle. Their programs are designed for flexibility, so you can upskill on your own schedule, even between building LEGO creations and sets. Sound like the opportunity you've been waiting for? Well, use my exclusive code BRICS for 30% off all programs. Click the link in the description or scan this QR code for a free career consultation today. And now check out this next LEGO creation. Sticking to the water for just a little bit longer, a Redditor named Skinny Gold submitted their build titled Fishing for Clues, featuring the film noir detective from Collectible Minifigures Series 25. The colors present in this build tell a very captivating story. You see, this minifigure comes with a strange accessory, a bright red fish. This is a reference to a red herring, which in detective stories is something that appears to be an important clue, but is ultimately meaningless. So with that in mind, our lonesome detective here seems to be on the wrong trail. Now, on the topic of minifigures, it seems that LEGO fans just can't stop pushing the envelope with these things. As one example, a Redditor named JTN Eagle was so preoccupied with whether or not they could that they didn't stop to think about whether they should, and ended up with this unholy combination of a velociraptor and Dr. Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park. As it turns out, dinosaur heads fit perfectly onto minifigures. Who knew? On the flip side though, that also means that minifigure heads fit onto most dinosaurs. Yikes, I wouldn't want either of these chasing me. But with saying that, there's no shortage of clever designs out there to help elevate your little plastic people. One of the coolest ones that I found was this incredible spin on a lizard minifigure from the Spider-Man line from a builder named Spicy Grievous. It seems that the builder was disappointed that LEGO had created the lizard as a regular minifigure. Specifically, they were bothered by his legs and lack of height, and so they decided to fix both of those issues. The final result looks great, and this angle shows just how simple the solution was. The only downside here is that this build doesn't have any anti-studs on the bottom, so it can't really click into place anywhere. However, its wider stance makes it incredibly stable. LEGO has released minifigures with brick-built legs before, so maybe we'll get an official minifigure like this one day. Another user going by Mr. Cobalt Cat took a similar approach by modifying everyone's favorite astromech droid. Yup, this version of R2-D2 is complete with fully functioning arms and legs, allowing the droid to finally access places that it could previously only dream of. This is honestly a really fun creation. Now, while modifying minifigures is a great way to customize them for your build or for your liking, a few designers have taken things to a whole nother level by building their own custom figures from scratch. Perhaps the best ones that I've found come from SpitBrix over on Instagram, who seems to specialize in creating brick-built figures with a kind of cyberpunk futuristic twist. This trio, called the Syndicate Squad, are super cool and incredibly posable. I love that the center one uses an actual minifigure torso and head. It gives the other two a great sense of scale and helps them look far more human. I'm also a big fan of the leg design, and the hands for feet are an odd but really great choice. The same creator also came up with these two, which they refer to as the Tribal Ranger and Sentinel. I absolutely love the designs on both of their bows. The smaller one makes great use of lever pieces to look like a drawn bowstring, and the larger one's use of a spear as an arrow really makes it seem larger than life. I also want to briefly point out the Inferno team, as they look like they might even be able to give the Ninjago squad a run for their money. I especially love this flamethrower attachment on the mech, and it reminds me a lot of the Samurai X mech from Ninjago. Changing gears slightly, this same builder doesn't just do custom minifigures, they also build tiny cityscapes. I'm a real sucker for these micro-scale builds, and this one is fantastic. Titled Retrotopia, this build looks like what people in the 1950s thought the world in the 2020s would look like. Well, I guess we're a little bit behind. On a similar note, this tiny city build comes from Zapolsky over on Flickr. This delightful little display shows a medieval castle being assaulted by invaders from the very far north as a group of UFOs abduct some unsuspecting villagers. The minimalist design of the castle and other buildings is fantastic, but my favorite detail has got to be the castle being pulled out of the ground by what is easily the most powerful tractor beam I've ever seen. If that tractor beam part looks familiar, that's because it's taken from the Spinjitzu Slam sets from Ninjago released in 2019. It's an absolutely genius use of a very niche and rare element, and I can't imagine a better way to create this illusion. Now, as fun as tiny cityscapes and minifigures are, there's another type of build that LEGO fans simply can't get enough of: monsters. There are tens of thousands of fan-made creations out there, and I've got to show you some of these. One of the funniest creations that I've seen was posted by Pymatooning on Reddit. This beast, simply called Wookiee Monster, is a complete recoloring of the Chewbacca set released in 2023 to make it look more like Cookie Monster from Sesame Street. What's great about this version is that it's actually so much more than just a simple recolor. His belt has little cookie pieces all over it, he's also carrying a massive cookie, and I can't ignore those giant googly eyes. However, the best part here has got to be the little Sesame Street sign and lamppost at the bottom. Apparently, this guy is actually way bigger than either Chewbacca or Cookie Monster. While LEGO has been releasing an ever-growing number of video game sets based on Nintendo, Sega, and even Atari, there's one video game franchise that we're almost certain never to see in an official LEGO product: Pokemon. Rival toy company Mattel currently holds the rights to create Pokemon-themed toys. However, that hasn't stopped countless fans from building their own creations of their favorite pocket monster. Just look at this build from a Redditor named DST212 who built a custom version of Flareon out of Lego bricks. The tail here is designed really well, and I love how posable this thing appears to be. But it's not just Pokemon. Real-world animals are also a constant source of inspiration for LEGO builders. As a great example, this Bumblebee bumblebee from Taipan the Snake is a truly perfect rendition of these tiny furry pollinators. The use of several hundred yellow and black small spike pieces gives this bee the perfect furry look, though my fingers are starting to ache with just the thought of having to attach all those tiny pieces to this build. As for another example of turning real animals into plastic models, this chameleon from Jaffa over on Flickr is simply perfect. I love the use of red pumpkins for eyes. This build also has posable legs and claws, and even a bendable tail, which really does help combine to make this even better than LEGO's official chameleon offering. But turning back to video games for a moment, this same builder also created this fantastic build of Sans from Undertale. The pixel art style from the game perfectly translates to LEGO, and this design nails the look of the character perfectly. I love the use of white minifigure arms for the eyebrows, and the flexi tube does a great job as the hood and zipper of his coat. Now, while all of these fan-made builds are unique and do a great job of pushing the limits of what LEGO can do, there's one that takes things a step too far. If you've never seen it, the hydraulic press channel is exactly as the name implies. A man with an industrial-strength hydraulic press crushes anything he can get his hands on. Well, as we all know, LEGO bricks are virtually indestructible. Well, except brittle brown. But what happens when you apply several tons of pressure to a ring of LEGO bricks? Well, it seems that even LEGO has its limits, and after some time in the press, this is what we got. A perfectly round LEGO donut ready for, well, I don't know what you do with this, but regardless, it sure looks cool, and it reminds me of one of the creations that I show in this video. Click now to watch, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel SpitBrix for more LEGO videos.